By far, this is the fastest driver from any planar headphones that I've ever heard maybe. So hello and welcome to Aftersound Review, and this is my review for Hifiman Ananda Nano that costs around $600. And yeah, it's just like its name, it's using a nano driver. So basically it's the driver itself is really thin, and I'm not gonna lie, I can hear that. I can definitely hear that thinness, that unique thinness from this Hifiman Ananda Nano compared to any other Hifiman headphones that I've ever tried before. And just like usual, I will break down this review from the build, fit, and then sound and comparison. Honestly, the build quality itself is not really amazing, I would say. The cup is made of plastic, while this area, I think the material of its frame, it's mostly metal, but it's not heavy metal, so I can feel that it's quite lightweight for this size. And also you're using I believe this is a pleather headband, while the ear cups and the ear pad itself is hybrid, so you can feel that there's a leather-like texture on this part, but in the inside area you get more fabric kind of material here, and also here it's another leather-like material. While the cable itself is detachable, but the quality of the cable itself is, I think this is standard, even though it's quite flexible, but it just feels okay. Even though you cannot move or swivel the ear cups like the ones that you get in the Edition XS, but thankfully I think there's something really special about maybe because of the cup, or maybe because of the angled ear pads here. You can see that this is an angled ear pads, it's not symmetrical. I find that the comfort is just simply amazing. I could wear them for hours without any complaint at all. And yes, this is a very open headphone, so basically there's no isolation or whatsoever. Now let's talk about the sound, the tonality of this headphone. This is the frequency response that I get from headphones.com. Right now, even though I don't have a measurement for headphone tool right now, but I do think that this measurement really shows what I hear from this headphone. It is basically a neutral bright headphone. The bass feels really neutral-ish, you don't get a lift around the bass area, and then the mid-range is somehow kind of lean, but the forwardness that can be definitely felt around the upper mid to treble area. I can hear definitely brightness there. And yes, that could be annoying for some people because how bright this headphone is, so be careful, this is a bright headphone. Personally, I would definitely EQ them around the 6, 8, and 12 to 15K. I just tone them down to the point that just to make things sound more listenable from this headphone, because even though it sounds really bright and really resolving, but that brightness is really unforgiving for some badly recorded tracks, which I have a lot, because the thing is I like to hear a lot of old music. Well, the recording isn't really a good thing back then, and yes, this will pick out every single kind of mistake or every single badness from your music, from your recording. And yes, it sounds bright, but thankfully because it's a really nice planar headphone, usually planar driver are more easy to EQ, and I think that's what happened with this too. So personally, I would EQ the treble down, but with the EQ it still remains spatial. The spatialness from this headphone, it's not because of its tonality, but because of its driver property. Well, every driver has each and their kind of timbre and also their kind of spatialness. That's why I personally prefer dynamic driver overall. But this headphone, this planar magnetic headphone, have a really fast transient response, and that makes everything, especially when I'm hearing some strings, some piano and guitar for instrumentals, sounds really fast, and each notes are really clearly defined in this headphone. So for a lot of single instruments, it just feels like really different from another headphone, even from Hifiman itself, especially if I'm comparing them with like the Edition XS. The Edition XS feels much more bassier, and I would say it sounds definitely much more slower. But the Edition XS is like for maybe pop music, it's more suitable for that. But this one is definitely made for musics like single instruments or orchestral music that doesn't need a lot of bass response, but it's more about the transient, the transparency, and also the resolution of this from this headphone. So yeah, as an overall, I would say that even though this headphone can be categorized as a really bright headphone, but thankfully it's easy to EQ them. And one thing that is being really special about this headphone is about the speed. But not gonna lie, this kind of speed, I have tried this kind of speed before, but not in any planar driver headphones, but rather in electrostatic headphones from Stax. This kind of fastness and transparency is just something that is really special from the electrostatic driver, and I somehow feel that kind of speed in this planar headphone. So basically, as an overall, for the tonality, yes, it's not an all-rounder kind of headphone. It's not gonna serve you good bassy punch deep down there, even though you can EQ the bass on this headphone for sure, but it still sounds really fast. While for bass head and for some EDM music, I believe you will need some decay on that so you can feel the thickness. This headphone will not give you that. But it's really special because it gives you some kind of very fast sounds that you can only get in usually electrostatic driver, and usually electrostatic driver headphones need special amplifier, while this one does not. So that's all I got to say about this headphone. This won't be for everybody, but I suggest you to try them. Why? Because they're really one of a kind, and if you like this, it is really hard to find something like this in any other headphones. And even though I compare them with, it's hard to compare them really because it's really different from the Moondrop Venus or Edition XS. They both sounds really nice. They both have a good resolution also, but it's just simply not on the same level as this headphone, and not on the same level for the speed. It's just really different. It's just really unique. So I suggest you not to blindly buy them. But I suggest you, if you can try them, please try them. And maybe if you think that this is too bright, you can just EQ them down and feel that this will be suitable for some classical or some instrument music that is really unique. So that's all I can say about this headphone. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.